Hello guys, welcome to my channel. This is Madhu and I'm with my SCALPEL Duke 790 over here. Today I'm going to walk you through all the modes that's available in this 790 console, like the street mode, rain mode, sports mode, track mode, and the levels of traction controls, launch control, wheelie control, blah blah blah. There are so many electronics loaded in this bike, man. And this is how the console looks when we turn on the bike. And you see these things on the left hand side, like the ABS is on, traction control is on, bike is in neutral, and this is the engine icon. And you can see a bike is in neutral. When you change the gear, the number will also change over here, and this is the RPM reading. And you see the time over here, this 29.5 degrees Celsius. Trip data in the sense I have covered 24 kilometers in the last trip. Range 70 kilometers in the sense you got the fuel which goes till 70 kilometers. This shows you the speed kilometer per hour, and I'm on street mode, and this indicator is the fuel indicator, and this is the engine heat indicator. As you can see over here, we got 4 buttons on the left hand side of the handlebar, and we change the settings in the main console using these buttons. Okay, first we need to click on set. As soon as we click on set, it goes to the main menu, and as you can see in the menu you have 4 options: favorites, trips, data, ride mode, motorcycle. Okay, now let me go to the first option, favorites. As you can see the modes over here, you get the details like ride mode is on street mode. It gives the basic information about the total number of kilometers that you have covered in trip 1. It's 24. Trip time, I mean how much time you have taken, MTC on or off, fuel range, how many kilometers you can cover with the fuel, what's available in your fuel tank right now. So these are the basic information that you get in the first option, that is favorites. We can change the favorites to the ride modes, and we can keep the way we want. I have chosen to show me the details of trip 1. So this is what shows on the main console when we go back. So this is what shows on the main console. This is my favorite. Okay, I want to see the time, that's 7:25 p.m. as of now, and the temperature of the engine, trip, how much kilometers I have covered, so that I can make it to 0 when I start my trip. And range, it's 80 kilometers. That's what I can cover with the fuel that's available in the fuel tank. And I'm on street mode, as you can see here. So that is my favorite setting I have set there. So these are all the details that I can see on the main console. Let me go back now. The second option is trips or data. When I press on set, you get to see so many options like trip 1, trip 2, general info, settings, surveys, extra functions, warnings. You know, these many options you have here. When I click on set on the first option, that is trip 1. Trip 1 is nothing but the data which you saw on the favorites tab, right? So this is what we have. Now I have covered 23 kilometers in my last trip. So when I am going to start a new trip, what do I need to do? I am going to press and hold the set button, press and hold it, so that the 23 becomes 0. Everything becomes 0 over here, so that I can start my new trip, and I can get to know how many kilometers I have covered, and I can plan accordingly as per my travel plan. So this is the trip 1 data. Now let me go back. Trip 2, you got another option. Again, you have 2 trips here. You can trace the number of kilometers that you have covered in 2 different options. One is in the trip 1 and the other one is the trip 2. Like once you cover one side of the trip, and then when you're coming back, you can again make this 0. Again, you have to just press and hold set button, so that everything goes to 0, and you can track the kilometers that you have covered. Trip 1 and trip 2 is all about tracing the activities that you do in your road trip, like the time that you consume, how much fuel you are going to consume, how many kilometers you are going to cover, something like that, as you see. And the third option is general info. If I click on that, general info means this gives the general information like the date, today's date, and odometer. I have covered 534 kilometers so far after buying this bike, and the battery, that's 12.5 volts, something like that. And let me go back. Next option is settings. If I click on settings, you can see options like units. So units, I can change it to miles or kilometers, temperature, Celsius or Fahrenheit, consumption, kilometer per liter, or it shows the fuel consumption as per liter or per 100 kilometer, or you can change it the way you want it. So this is more of changing the settings the way you want, the way you are comfortable with. So let me go back. Language, English, whatever the language you want you can change. And clock, date, here you can edit the time and date and save. Let me go back. Next option is DRL, off or on. Now quick selector 1 and quick selector 2. What are these two options? Let me click on the first option, quick selector 1. See, in the quick selector 1 we got so many options over here, right? So if I choose the first option over here, I have to click on set button to choose whatever I want. Now let me select ride mode in quick selector 1, and in quick selector 2 I will choose general information. Okay, I will show you what happens next. So when I go back to the main console, okay, and when I'm on a ride, if I want to change the riding mode, I have to just click this button. This is the quick selector 1 that I have chosen there. Okay, I can change the riding mode easily over here by clicking one button. And then the quick selector 2, I have to click this button, and then same goes to quick selector 2, I have to click this button. See, I get the general information over here, how many kilometers I have covered with this bike, battery information and the date information. So this is what quick selector and quick selector 2 indicates. Now let me go back to the main settings. After quick selector 2 we have set favorites. When I click on that, I get these options. Set favorites is nothing but if I choose trip 1, I have chosen trip 1 as of now. It on the main console I can see the complete details of trip 1. If I select MTC or MSR, I will only see the information about MTC and MSR, that is traction control and the fuel range. If I select this, the fuel range details will show up on the screen on the main console. If I select ride mode, I will only see these options whatever I can see over here on the main console. As of now I have chosen trip 1 data, so that all the details about my trip 1 will show up on the main console. As you can see here, see, this is the trip 1 which I have chosen already. This is all the details of trip 1. Okay, let me go back to the settings. Let's go to the next option, service. If you click on that, we'll get to know the next service. I have to cover another 466 kilometers for the next service. That will be my first service. Date is backdated, it has to be changed. I'll have to check with the service center to change this date, and this is kind of the software version or whatever, I don't know. Then let me go back. Extra functions, let me click on that. These are the extra functions that's available on this bike: anti-wheelie mode, launch control, slip adjuster, throttle response, quick shifter, DRL, MSR. I mean, these many options we got in this bike as extra functions, and I will get into each one of these options in a minute now. Let me go back. Extra functions, warnings. Warning is like it's showing that service. Okay, after around 466 kilometers is left for the first service, right? After I cover that, I have to go for the service. So these are all the options we have in the second option, that is trips and data. Okay, let's go to the third option, that is ride mode. This is very important in this bike, guys. This is what excites me a lot. This is very interesting and exciting for all the riders, man. Now let me click on the ride modes. In this bike we got 4 ride modes. The first option is sports mode, street mode, rain mode, track mode. As of now I am on street mode. When I am riding the bike in city or in congested traffic, I go on street mode because that will cut down the power to the engine, and then the power is also linear, and I don't feel the complete power of this bike, and it controls the wheel spin and all that stuff in street mode. The power is linear basically in street mode. In rain mode, when it's raining, if you go on this mode, in rain mode it is going to control the wheel slip when we are going on a wet surface and all that stuff, and it even further controls the engine power. The power what we feel in rain mode is lesser than the street mode. If you go on sports mode, we get very good throttle response, and you will feel the punch in the throttle, and you'll have fun on sports mode. Basically I go on sports mode on highways, on straight lanes. And the track mode, if you select track mode, you will get a lot of options here to tweak around with. See, under track mode you got throttle response is the first option. If I click on that, under track mode you got sub options like track mode, sports mode, street mode. Under track mode, if you again select track mode, you're gonna feel the complete raw power of this bike. And if you go on sports mode under track mode, again the power is good. If you go on street mode under track mode, the power is a bit linear. And if you want to feel the complete power of this bike, you have to go on track mode. Turn this on. Let's go back. Now anti-wheelie mode. Anti-wheelie mode is more of, this is 2-cylinder engine, and the initial throttle response is on a whole different level. To control the wheel so that it should not pop wheelies whenever you open the throttle, when you turn this on, it will control the wheelie. If you are not a pro, if you are a beginner, you should turn on all these modes, because the power on this bike is on a whole different level. It will throw you off if you are just treating this bike like the other 250-300cc bikes. If you open the throttle the way you open the throttle in 300-400cc bikes, that's it. The bike will go off, flies, and you will be somewhere lying in a gutter. So that's the reason why you have to turn on all these modes, so that the bike controls the power. And then the next option is launch control. So launch control is when you launch this powerful bikes, what happens is it pops wheelie, and you'll not be able to feel that punch in the initial throttle response that you'll be missing. You'll have to manually control the wheel. You have to let the throttle go so that the wheel lands on the ground. All that stuff will happen. If you turn this on, the bike will not pop wheelie when you are revving the bike and open the clutch, and the power and the acceleration that gets delivered is awesome, and you will have great fun. Now if you want to leave the track mode, we can select the last option, that is leave track. Now again we can choose the modes the way we want. So let me go back to the next option, that is motorcycle. Under motorcycle you see a lot of options like MTC, MSR, ABS mode, quickshifter plus, quickshift, shift light. So what does MTC and MSR mean? MTC means motorcycle traction control. MSR means it is going to have better control in the slope so that the wheel is not going to slide off, and that is what MSR means. What is MTC? MTC is more of the traction controls, and this bike has got 9 levels of traction controls. Traction control is something like, this is going to avoid the excess wheel spin. Since this bike has got too much of torque, when you're going through wet surface, gravel road, slushy road, muddy road, the wheel will suddenly spin and you might lose the traction, you might fall, but you can lose the balance out of this bike. So that is where this MTC and MSR is going to work and make sure the power is delivered in a controlled way, where your wheel is not going to spin unnecessarily. It is going to have the traction with the surface area of what you're going through, and that is all about MTC and MSR. When you're on track mode, you will get 9 levels of traction control. You can choose it in the way you want it. 1 is at the minimum, and if you go to 9, then that's the maximum. Now the next option is ABS. So if you want, you can turn off the ABS, but that is illegal. You need to press and hold this set button to turn the ABS off. Let me focus. This is the set button, as you heard before. Now the next option is ABS mode road. What if I turn this ABS mode off? I need to press and hold that. Then if I release that, motor slip regulation is disabled in current ABS mode. That means the traction control is off. Let me go back. Here, when I turn off this ABS mode, it goes on supermoto mode. Something like the ABS doesn't work on the rear wheel, but the ABS works on the front wheel, so that you can drift around with this bike, you can have fun. It's kind of illegal. It's not that safe unless and until you are a pro. If you are a beginner, never go on these modes. It's very dangerous, very scary. Okay, the super sports mode is to have fun on next level. And the quick shifter, you can turn this on or off. Quick shifter on this bike is amazing, guys. I have already tested it on highways. Let me check how the quick shifter works. I'm not gonna use the clutch now. Here is the clutch. You can observe now. I'm not gonna use the clutch. I'm on 4th gear. Oh! Superb! It's working fantastic. Let me put a link in the description below. You can go and watch that video where I have used the quick shifter and I've tested it. Awesome, man. Awesome on this bike. You know what quick shifter means? To put that in simple words, you don't engage clutch and throttle when you are using the quick shifter. You're only engaging the gears. Basically, what do we do when we are riding the regular bikes? We squeeze the clutch, we deaccelerate, and then we change the gear again. We release the clutch and then we accelerate. This is the regular function what we do, right, to change the gear in the regular bikes. In this bike we got quick shifter. You no need to deaccelerate, no need to engage clutch, keep the throttle on, just keep changing the gears. That's it. And don't use the quick shifter somewhere in city, in traffic, in low RPMs. You only use it when you are on higher RPMs, so that you're not gonna mess with the quick shifter. If you're just simply using all over the place in low RPMs, you're gonna destroy your quick shifter in the bike. And the last option is shift light. I don't know what does this mean, man. Shift light menu is not available below 1000. Yes, I will get to know after I cross 1000 kilometers, I mean after the first service. So let me go back. I have covered all the options, electronics that is loaded in this bike. That's it for this video, guys. I had been on a road trip, it's short ride, to feel the power of this bike and to see how this electronic works. And I have tagged the links in the description below. You can go ahead and watch it. You might have fun watching it. And there is another link where I have recorded the moments when I took the delivery of this SCALPEL, and I've shared my story about how I evolved from a basic 50cc TVS XL bike to SCALPEL. I hope you have fun watching it. And I keep going on road trips, long trips, short trips and all that. In this channel I've uploaded a lot of videos and I have shared my travel stories. I put all those links in the description below. You can go ahead and watch it. I'm a bike enthusiast. I'll be coming up with a lot of content with this bike, and I'll be sharing all my travel stories, my experience riding this bike across different terrains. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.